Why more information isn't helping you. Back with 10 things people try that don't actually get them unstuck. This is part 2 of 10. If information changed lives, the internet would have solved humanity's problems years ago. Think about it. You already know you should forgive. You already know you should pray. You already know you should manage your money more wisely. You already know you should exercise. You already know you should stop procrastinating. So, the problem isn't that you don't know enough. The problem is that knowing has never been the same as becoming. Here's the information addiction. We live in a culture that mistakes learning for progress. Another podcast, another sermon, another YouTube video, another book, another course, another conference, another notebook full of ideas you'll never implement. And every new piece of information gives you a small hit of hope. Maybe this is the time that things will finally change. For a few hours, maybe a few days. Maybe you'll feel inspired, but then life happens. And you're right back where you started. Not because the information was wrong, but because information was never the problem. Can I challenge you? What if you don't need another answer? What if you need to become the kind of person who acts on the answers you already have? That's a completely different problem because now we're not talking about knowledge, we're talking about identity. So here's the illusion of progress. One of the most dangerous traps I've observed is what I call productive procrastination. You feel like you're moving forward because you're constantly learning. But learning is not movement, it's preparation. And preparation that never becomes action eventually becomes avoidance. You see, some people have spent years preparing for a life they never actually started. So, why does this happen? Because information is safe. Implementation, that's vulnerable. Reading about courage is easier than having the difficult conversation. Listening to a message about forgiveness is easier than forgiving. Watching a video about purpose is easier than taking the first uncertain step. Knowledge costs very little. Obedience costs everything. The pattern I've seen after years of advising people who felt stuck, I've noticed something fascinating. The people who experience lasting transformation don't necessarily consume more information. They ask better questions. Questions like, what truth am I avoiding? What conversation have I delayed? What decision already needs to be made? What has God already shown me that I haven't acted on? Those questions don't just inform you, they confront you. And transformation begins where self-deception ends. Okay, let's talk about the Unstuck framework. Every breakthrough I've witnessed follows the same progression. Awareness, you see what you've been missing. Ownership, you stop blaming everything outside of you. Alignment, your beliefs, identity, and actions begin working together. You constantly do what you already know. Notice what's missing? More information. Because information doesn't create momentum, implementation does. What Scripture actually says is this. James didn't write, be hearers of the word only. He wrote the exact opposite. Be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. That's James 1:22. Now that's a sobering verse because it suggests something we don't like to admit. It is possible to know God's truth, agree with God's truth, teach God's truth, and still deceive yourself if you never live it. In fact, that's terrifying. So here's the unstuck truth. Your breakthrough is probably not hiding in another book, another sermon, another podcast, another newsletter. It may be hiding in the first act of obedience you've been postponing. Read less, apply more, consume less, practice more, learn less, live more. Okay, let's reflect. Ask yourself honestly, what do I already know that I haven't acted on? Am I collecting information because it feels productive or because implementation feels uncomfortable? If I stopped consuming new content for the next 30 days and only practiced what I already know, how different would my life look? Don't answer these questions quickly because your answers may reveal more than another 100 hours of content ever could. Coming next time is part 3, why positive thinking isn't enough. We'll explore why optimism without truth often becomes another form of denial and what actually renews the mind. So, are you ready to stop collecting information and start transforming? This is where an advisor becomes valuable. Not because you need someone to give you more information, but because you need someone to help you identify the blind spots, patterns, and assumptions that are keeping you from acting on what you already know. If you're ready for that type of conversation, I invite you to a private advisory experience for people who know they're capable of more but need more clarity, conviction, and strategic direction to move into their next assignment. Together, we'll identify what's actually keeping you stuck, clarify your next move, and determine whether working together is the right fit. Now, I intentionally limit the number of clarity calls each month so every conversation receives my full attention. You can schedule a free 30-minute Unstuck clarity call today. Here's the final word. My goal has never been to give you more information. My goal is to help you see what you've been unable to see. Because clarity doesn't change your life. Applied clarity does. Until next time.